So this like lesson specifically in college is really mathematical. Like, and in my opinion, it's really hard to connect this lesson in college to real life. Like, it's very theoretical. It's accurate, but there's a big, you have to learn a lot before you can apply it to life. So what I've done is kind of pared it down to like, we're just going to focus on electrons because electrons are where it's at. Like electrons do all the heavy lifting, do all the stuff. Okay. So if a college professor is sitting in this lesson, they be like, so what exactly are you teaching these kids nowadays? Like, well, I'm teaching what they need to know to be able to apply to life. So it's kind of, that's my disclaimer. Like I'm teaching, yeah. So if you get to college and they start teaching other stuff about electric potential, just know other stuff's coming. All right, give this one a shot. Tomorrow. Okay, correct answer is A. All right, so one way you can look at this is pretend there's a compression spring between here. They don't want to be near each other. Here there's more energy, potential energy, because they want to get away from each other. Good with that? Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this idea of like a spring between there. And what this is a model of is electrons being squished into an object, and pretend there's springs between each one of these electrons. Okay. I'll try to give you like, I'm building this model, this idea, this analogy of objects with electrons in them. Towards the end of the hour, we'll tie this into life. So it's going to feel like, why are we doing this? This seems really weird. But by the end of the hour, hopefully we're like, I see how this is relevant to my life today. Okay, so that one a shot. Thumbs up when you got a guess. Okay, correct answer is 2. Okay, simply because there's more of them. Okay, there's more springs to contribute. You might think of this as the total electric potential energy. You're adding them all together. Okay? That makes sense? Now, which of these has a higher electric potential? Oops. Okay. Electric potential is how much energy there is per electron. Another way to describe that is how crowded the electrons are. Okay. So the correct answer for this one is C. They are the same. Okay. What we're looking at is not the total amount of energy, but how much energy per electron. How much energy does each electron have? Because they're equally crowded, because each one has the same squished crowdedness, the springs are compressed the same amount, is the same amount of energy per electron. Right with that? Okay, so how much energy there is per electron, how crowded the electrons are. Now, in actuality, um, in college, they're going to tell you, actually they probably won't, but this is true. I'll just show you an equation. Electric potential is the promise of electric potential energy, just like electric field is the promise of electric force. So for whatever that's worth. Tell your neighbor what you think. Tell them why you think what you think.
Wait, wait to tell you something. We were at cheer last night on the mats, and I ran like on the mat to go like pick it up, and it like popped louder than like my neck because of the static. And then they held hands and I shot it. It was so funny.
Nice. Good.
So funny. It was so loud.
Good stuff. Physics in action. All right. So correct answer is. Correct answer is A. Object 3. Okay. They're more crowded. Okay. There's more energy per electron. Their springs are really squished together. And object 4. Okay. Have a conversation. A little distracting, just probably. Yeah, these things are a little bit distracting.
Going down.
You're abandoning me?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Say it, man. Correct answer is. Correct answer. I'm going to say B. Okay. Here is my money analogy. Okay. So money is energy. We'll just say. Okay. What electric potential looks at is energy per electron. So from a money analogy, it's how much money each electron has, or each person. We'll say how much money each person has. Okay. Here, they're really rich. $1,000 a person. Here, they're not as crowded. The springs aren't as compressed. They don't have as much energy per electron here. Let's say it's like $100 a person. But there are more people in here, so the total amount of the total amount of money is going to be more, could be more than the few people that have $1,000 each. Does that make sense? Okay, so well, what electric potential is how much money there is per person, or how much energy there is per electron.
So the dots can be different?
The dots are people or electrons, but how crowded they are, that determines how much energy is present per person.
So the dots are the same.
Oh, the number of them?
No, like the value of them. Like you said that these can be 100 and those can be 1,000.
1,000. So each one is so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, $13,000 total. Yeah. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's 100 each. So 15. So $1,500 just for that row times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So all of the electrons aren't the same value. Like they're less
Right.
in that one and more in that one.
Correct. There's more. Yeah. This one has less energy per electron than this one does, simply because they're crowded. All right with that? Okay. I know this is like very abstract and you just see no connection to life. Hang with me. All right. So, you know how you're like, I don't know if you felt that frustration last night when you're listening to the video, like you have electric potential energy and then you have electric potential, and like, dude, why don't they just come up with a new name? Like, criminy. Turns out there's actually a third term that muddies the waters even more. I thought that I just like give you. So okay, so we got electric potential. Yeah, you do. You got electric potential difference. Delta capital V. Okay? What does delta mean? Change in. So it's 2 voltage 1 minus voltage 2, and I'm going to make it even simpler for you. It's the absolute value, so it doesn't matter which one's 1 and which one's 2. Okay? It is the difference in electric potential from one spot compared to another spot. Okay. Tell your neighbor, based on this equation, what would make this bigger. Okay. I heard some stuff. I think it's good. I don't know if it's all good, but it is the bigger the contrast between these two, the bigger the spread, bigger the difference between these two numbers, is going to give you a greater electric potential difference. Okay. Have a conversation.
My mom actually said, like, whatever. That's what it is. It's scary. Change it or it's changing. Like, yeah, it's not gonna be.
Just listening.
I bet it is. What is it?
Correct answer is C.
Okay. I didn't know.
Okay. It is. This has a bigger contrast, bigger difference in crowdedness. Okay. This is really crammed together. This is spread out. It's a bigger electric potential difference between this and this. Tell your neighbor. Correct answer is D. Yes. They all have the same comparison of crowdedness. Okay. So we're all right with that. Same comparison crowded. Now, why do I care about boxes with dots in them? Okay. So another name for electric potential difference is voltage. Okay. Voltage, I'm assuming you've heard that word before. Probably don't have a very good understanding of what it is, but this concept of voltage or electric potential difference, we're learning about it this chapter. We're going to use it next chapter and the chapter after that. So this is like probably the most important concept, overarching concept of this quarter. Voltage. Okay. So we're going to take some time to unpack that. So another equation for electric potential difference is based on the equation that we did yesterday or on the video. It's how much electric potential energy is transferred compared to how much charge is being transferred. How many electrons are being transferred. Like in a shock. Okay. Okay. Now, here's how this plays out in real life. Okay. Electric potential difference determines how motivated the electrons are to transfer. This is folks, this is like if you've been playing on your cell phone this whole time or been talking to your neighbor the whole time and not being paying attention, now would be the time to like stop and focus 100% of the time. Okay? Okay. Electric potential is how crowded they are. Okay? If they're crowded, if they're like sitting here like this, like, like, do they want to be in this place here? Like, if you're an electron, no, this stinks. But if you're looking over here and over here, they're like, is there any reason why you would want to go over there to somewhere that's equally crowded? There's electric potential, there's crowdedness, but there's no motivation for you to transfer over to over here. What's the electric potential difference from this spot to this spot? Zero, none. There's no motivation. Why would I want to go over to a really crowded spot? I'm already in a really crowded spot. But if you're over here going, oh, and then over here you're going, oh, yeah. Is there a difference? Yes. If you're an electron, how motivated are you to go over there? Very motivated. There's a high electric potential difference. There's a high voltage. There's motivation. Like there's greener fields over there. I am moving over there. Does that make sense? That's what voltage is. It's how motivated. It's the pressure. It's the push. It's the man that looks good over there. Does that make sense? That's voltage. That idea, you're going to need that this chapter, next chapter, and the chapter after that. Okay? Now, this is really at the end of the day what matters because this determines how much energy is being transferred, determines if you're going to live or die, if you get shocked. how much energy is being transferred. Okay, how powerful or painful the shock is. Okay, so when we're looking at this equation that I just gave you, I'm going to rearrange it. What's going to cause this amount of energy transferred to increase? Tell your neighbor. Okay, heard a lot of good stuff. Correct answer is increase both of these. So greater electric potential difference, greater voltage, but also increasing how much charge, specifically how many electrons are being transferred. You okay with that? Okay. Another way I could say this is which is more likely for electrons to jump or transfer? Tell your neighbor. Correct answer is C, 3 and 4. Okay? The difference in crowdedness is much more drastic from here to here than it is in these other places. Okay? Tell your neighbor.
I had mango yesterday. Actually, really cool. See? Oh, yeah. All right. Yep. I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. What do you say? Correct answer is B. Okay? They're gonna go until they're equally crowded. What would be if they're equally crowded, what would be the electric potential difference from one spot across to the other? 0. There would be no motivation. Is there electric potential? Still, yes, there's still electric potential. There's some crowdedness, but they go until they're equally crowded. Okay? Have a conversation.
Just reminiscing on this. I thought this was prior to graduating. You could have been in bio too. Right. No, bio too was terrible.
I didn't want to do biochem, so I was like,
No, I
physics.
prefer that. I would like bio. I just can't. I hated that class.
All right. What do you think? Okay. How does their electric potential difference compare? The same. The same difference in crowdedness. Okay. Which one's going to transfer more electrons? There's more room to accept electrons in here simply because the area is bigger than there is in here. Does that make sense? There's more room overall to spread out in two than there is in one. They're equally motivated, but there's more of these that can jump over, meaning that this is going to be more powerful. You all right with that? Okay. Let's bring it to real life. What is the electric potential difference of the voltage of an outlet? Depending on who you talk to, 110, 120 volts. It won't give you a number, but give you an experience. Okay, 120 volts. Does anybody know, like, caution, warning, high voltage power lines? Don't climb on these. They give you a number. I've seen between 5,000 volts and 20,000 volts. Okay? Those are the signs I've seen. I've seen 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. I've never seen anything higher than 20,000. I don't know. You can Google it. Oh. It's a great question. Okay. Okay, here we go. Ready? All right. So an outlet is 120,000. No. Is 120 volts. High voltage power lines, 20,000 volts. The Van der Graaf generator. Turn this on. 100,000 volts. 100,000 volts. High voltage power lines, 20,000 volts. Tasers, 50,000. Is that what you just said? Okay, 100,000 volts. Mr. Smiley, is that safe? Like, why did you have this in here? Like, you're probably gonna get sued. Like, okay. So, let me try to give you an understanding what voltage is and what it is not. Okay. So, I'm gonna do some demonstrations that I would not necessarily recommend at home. So I've got a cord that I cut, spliced, chopped off. Okay. If I plug this into an outlet, so long as I am touching the insulation, am I safe? It's risky, but I'm safe because I'm holding on to the insulation. Does that make sense? Okay, we trust that every time we plug something in. Okay, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this into the Van der Graaf generator. Okay.
He's responding to my story.
Okay, so all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to well, you know, order of operations,
Hindsight's 2020.
you know,
Had dots with it.
piece of junk. So what I was going for when we moved over here is like I need remote control light switches. I can like
They didn't give you that.
no. I also wanted to be able to access the roof. They didn't give me that either. To drop stuff off. It'd be pretty cool. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm plugging this up. Oh, hey now. Hey now.
That's a taser.
Okay. Now, what I want you to notice is, am I safe from being shocked? Not if I'm going to live or die or not, but am I safe from being shocked? You see that? You guys see that? Was I safe from being shocked? Was I being shocked? Yes. So I was not safe from being shocked. I was being shocked.
Was it hurting?
Tickled. Here come the lights. Okay. Now. Okay. So why was I being shocked? Because the motivation for these electrons was super high. They're super crammed in there. There's 100,000 volts electric potential difference between the Van der Graaf generator and me. The electrons look at this insulation and go, are you kidding me? You think that's going to stop me? No way. I am through that. Boom. Versus the outlet was just 120 volts. They weren't that motivated. They couldn't jump through the insulation. 100,000 volts, there's enough like, busting through that without any trouble. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, they're super motivated. Now, a follow-up demonstration. I'm going to take some steel wool. Okay, and I'm going to touch it. Okay, I'm going to plug it in, or like I'm going to take this. I'm going to touch these two ends. Good quality. Okay, So I'm going to turn this on. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait a minute. You got to give these guys a front row seat here. Three, two, one. Nothing. Okay. But now, do not do this at home. Like legit. No, you don't have these. Going hardcore. I'm going to plug this into an outlet. Okay. And I'm going to touch these to either end of the steel wool. Don't look at this directly. Look at my face. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Okay. Now. No, it's like looking at the sun. Same idea. You get some blue spots. Okay. Now, here's what I want you to see from this. Though the outlet only had 120 volts, it destroyed the steel wool. That is because there's so many more electrons. Okay? This is like the Van der Graaf generator. Okay? They're super crowded. They're really from an economic point of view, they're really rich. It's kind of like Kuwait, or really a small oil-rich company. Each person is loaded. Okay? They can buy a car for every day of the week. Nice car. Okay? But on the global economy, they don't have much weight. There's not that much total energy. Okay? This is like China. Okay? The money per person is really small. But they're a huge player in the global economy because the sheer magnitude of it, even though they're not that rich per person, the total amount of money they have, the total amount of energy there is in the outlet dwarfs the total amount of energy in the Van der Graaf generator. This is why the steel wool got fried, because there was much more energy being transferred. The amount of charge being transferred was huge. The voltage was lower, but the charge was absolutely bigger and caused that to fry. Maddox.
So too little like voltage, you get fried. How do we get confused?
Right. Okay. So the difference between the Van der Graaf generator, the outlet has kind of an infinite source of electrons. So this, I mean, I couldn't fill this whole hallway with many dots. I mean, there's just so many more electrons being transferred, so it transferred a whole lot more energy. Versus on the Van der Graaf generator is a limited amount. They're like build up, pop, build up, pop. Does that make sense? Like it's a small. This is high, but the amount of electrons actually being transferred very remote. So it doesn't. It's a really high motivation, but it doesn't hurt me. I don't get killed by it because there weren't that many electrons. Good with that, Maddox? No. The more electrons transferred, the more energy is going to be transferred, so more dangerous. But the energy is what, at the end of the day, measures how messed up you're going to get. So The Van der Esch generator had a high voltage, but had super small amount of charge transferred. The outlet was like lowish, but had so many more electrons that they're able to destroy the steel wool. Does that make sense? Okay. So you got a worksheet tonight.